Michele Granberg here. Welcome to Positive Energy, offering inspiring conversations that speak to your soul. On this show, we're talking about positive and conscious aging. My guest, Tom Callahan, is a coach and elder care expert. He's also host of Only Seniors right here on Princeton Television. So Tom, welcome to Positive Energy.
Michele, thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be a guest on your show.
We're just two celebrities chatting it up.
I know. We're like Oprah and Dr. Phil.
I'm Oprah, yes?
Okay, I'll be Dr. Phil then.
So we're going to talk about you today and
okay.
about positive and conscious aging.
Good. Two of my favorite topics.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I imagine when people hear just the word aging, often they sort of cringe a little bit, and it's not something that people often want to talk about or have positive associations with. Do you find that?
They do. It's the, aging, not me, I'm not going to do it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, like it or not, we do it every day.
Yes.
It happens to the best of us.
Yes. Yeah, people joke a lot about aging. It's sort of self-deprecating, like, oh, I'm so old.
True. ... Exactly.
So maybe we can put a better spin on that. I know that's what you're all about, and both help people prepare for aging as well as take a look at their mindset around the topic.
True. If you age with the proper mindset and you're active and you're doing things that you want to do, you'll find that those aches and pains aren't going to be as achy and painy. They're not going to bother you as much. If you're going forward and moving and realizing that, there's still a lot of vitality in myself, you're going to age right.
So tell us a little bit about your background to start as well.
I've been in the elder care field now for close to 20 years. I fell into it. I was a regional director for a retailer, and I just wasn't very happy doing what I was doing. And I was right around Labor Day, and I was standing in a store in Paramus, and I had this really ugly Christmas ornament in my hand. And I just looked at it and thought, is this the best I can do with my life? And I thought, there's got to be something better than making sure this Christmas ornament gets sold. So I resigned my job and took a leap of faith. Temped with a couple companies, wound up temping in an elder care community. Loved it. Was supposed to be there for 2 days, wound up being there for 7 years. Became vice president and really began learning the whole aging industry.
Got it.
And it's an aging industry. I've worked in independent living, assisted living, hospice, home care, CCRCs, you name it. I've run the gamut. I've run all aspects of it. About 3 years ago, I thought, you know what? There's a lot of questions that people don't ask that they should be asking.
Yeah.
They need somebody to guide them. And I went out on my own. And now I work for the individual. I use my knowledge to your benefit.
When do people reach out to you and why?
Well, about 2 years ago, I added the title Crisis Manager to what I do because I'm finding that that's when a lot of the people are reaching out to me.
Right.
When mom's in the emergency room and we don't know what to do.
Right.
So, come in, I calm everybody down, and we start moving forward. Because as people are in a crisis situation, they tighten up and they don't quite know what to do.
Right.
So I come in and I relax them. They do. So I relax them, and first thing I let everybody know is there's options. There are things we can do. There is a solution, I promise you. And it's just getting them to relax, breathe, which is a big thing, exactly, and just realize that there is a way forward. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I think you have to have a particular kind of temperament to do the work that you do, to be able to step in when it seems like everybody's falling apart. Very often.
One of the things I always loved doing in any of the professions I had was if you put a roadblock in my way, I loved the idea of trying to get around that roadblock.
Got it.
It just, I've never met a roadblock that I can't get around in some way, shape, or form. Legally, I swear. But if you present me with a challenge, I'm like, okay. Yeah. So then I like going back and looking for the research and figuring out what to do next.
Well, it sounds like you have just really discovered your niche, your life's work, your passion, and sort of exactly where you fit best in the world. And I love when people discover that. And in addition, it does a really great service.
It does. And I will say, it's the last field I ever expected to be in.
Is it?
Never expected this. Again, quit a job. No plan whatsoever. And, just was supposed to be a place for 2 days. And those 2 days changed my life.
And here you are.
And here I am.
So let's talk a little bit more in terms of elder care and crisis management. You work with caregivers a lot as well.
Correct.
And that is a whole body of support that is available for caregivers. It's very specific and very important care that they need as well. And fortunately, more of a spotlight is being shined upon the caregiver as well. So what's your work with caregivers, and what's the most important thing around the challenges that caregivers have as well as in their elder care?
The one thing with caregivers is they can get burnt out, or a term you're going to be hearing a lot about in the next couple of years is compassion fatigue.
Yes, I've heard that.
It's where people just, they're caring for a loved one, and they're just putting everything they have into it, but they're forgetting to care for themselves. And as a result of not caring for themselves, they begin to break down. One of the things you do see is, especially in married couples that are older, if one is caring for the other one, the one who is the caregiver tends to go first.
Yeah.
Because they forget to care for themselves. And what I do is I come in and I remind the caregiver, you've got to do something to de-stress yourself. You've got to get out there and relax, do something for you.
Yeah.
And I coach them around how to do that, how to make a plan so that, if they're caregiving for a loved one, that maybe they're taking time out every day for themselves. Maybe they're taking more than just the 8 hours that they need to sleep. Maybe they're taking, going out to do a class at night,
right.
Or maybe they're going, jogging or something. They just have to do something for themselves.
Yeah. It sounds pretty obvious, but people really need permission very often to hear an outsider observe that and witness that and reflect that back to them and say, it's okay. Take care of yourself. It's okay.
It's okay.
So
and that's the one thing they say a lot is, I can do that. And I'm like, of course you can. You're allowed to go to the movies, I swear. If somebody's on their deathbed, you might want to think twice about it. But, certainly if it's a good day and everything's fine and, somebody's there to watch and manage the situation, go to the movies. It's 2 hours out of your day. Enjoy, relax, escape.
There is some balance there.
There is.
So let's talk. I think that many, many, many people can relate to what you're saying. But even more broadly, there's everybody in the entire world can relate to the broader topic of aging in general and longevity in general, because we're all aging right now.
We are.
And we all at some point think about, or maybe we don't think about, maybe we want to start thinking about how long our life is going to be and the quality of our life as well as the quantity of our days. So I know that you feel passionately about that as well. So talk a little bit about sort of your main message in a sense, or your mission in all this. What do you want the average person, no matter what age, to know about aging?
That there is something to do. And that's what a lot of people...
Don't just sit around and just age.
Some people, honestly, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, I've talked to a number of people recently who are still in their 70s and they're working their full-time job. And I asked them, I'm like, well, why don't you want to retire? And a lot of them say to me, and do what? And to me, I'm like, well, there's a whole lot of stuff to do.
I can think of a lot of things.
Like, there's so many I can't wait to retire. It's funny, growing up, my uncle, my aunt and uncle lived across the street from me. My uncle retired in 1977. He retired from the Marine Corps. And after he retired, he was actually busier than when he was working.
Yes.
Because suddenly there were his grandchildren and his nieces and nephews who sometimes if we needed a ride home from school or we needed to go to a sporting event, he was driving us all around. Or, there was errands to be run, there was things to do. He picked up a lot of different hobbies and he was actually busier.
Yeah. And doing more of the things that you want to do, that's the idea. I can attest to that in my parents. My parents are retired. I have parents and 2 step-parents. I have to, check with their calendar to see if I can get on it.
Exactly.
Because their calendar is full of stuff that they are doing. They're busier and active than ever. And I think that's just a great way of reminding people, stay active.
It is.
Important to do.
When I was on the facility side, when I managed and was a marketing director in facilities, I used to tell people, sure, mom doesn't want to come into a facility. None of us ever plan to go to an assisted living or a nursing home. It's just one of those things. But it's not one of those things to be afraid of. Like, within 6 weeks of somebody moving into a facility, there will be a big shift. Everyone will come in and be like, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to, and they will dig their heels in, I'm not going to do this. And, I would tell kids, expect a phone call at least 4 or 5 times a day. Take me home, take me home, take me home. I said, as the weeks progress, those phone calls will decrease. But usually by the end of the 6th week, you're calling me asking where your mother is. Because mom has found her niche, she's found her group of friends, she's going off to activities, and I have to remind them it's like the first day of school for a child. They don't want to leave mom's side because it's scary, it's new, it's different. They don't know what to expect, and they're used to something here, but they send them off to school. They might cry the first couple minutes, but by the end of the first day, they're like, no, I'm having fun, can I stay longer? And that's
so they acclimate.
They acclimate
to the new routine. It's a transition like everything else.
And life goes on.
Yeah.
And in fact, a lot of times, life gets better.
Yeah.
We see all these stories about all the bad facilities and all these bad things that happen. And I will tell you, for every one bad story, there are 100 good stories that never get told.
Right.
And those are the ones that I always look at. Somebody who was just sitting at home and doing nothing, twiddling their thumbs, waiting to die, to now somebody who is taking a Tai Chi class, challenging something new, making a new friend, might even have a new boyfriend or girlfriend. These things happen. Life
Tell
goes
us more
on.
details.
I know, right? There's been a couple things we've walked in on occasions that's been like, whoa, sorry, shut the door. But things move on. Life still happens.
Right.
Retirement doesn't mean sitting there waiting to die. Retirement means you now have time to go do those things and have fun.
So once again, I'm the positive thinking guru. And what I hear you saying in all that is we cannot underestimate the influence that positive thinking and mindset and attitude has on aging.
Underlined, yes.
Yeah, so that's the good news because no matter where we are in life, we can make small changes to change our attitude and to begin to look at things. And having a support system, of course, is very important as well.
Very important.
Let's talk about longevity now, which is tagged to aging.
It is.
Americans are living longer.
Yes.
Correct? I say that assertively and confidently. I think I've heard it so many times. We are living longer. So tell us a little bit about lifespan now. Where's the trend, or where are the bigger changes right now in longevity for Americans? We're living longer, and what does that mean, and why is that?
Well, I would confirm what you're saying because Stanford Center on Longevity did a study recently, and what they found was that in the past 100 years, in the past century, people are living a lifespan 30 years longer than what they did in 1915.
Yeah.
So we're seeing people now that are living into their 80s, 90s, and over 100. When I was 10 years old, my grandfather turned 100 years old, and that was big. I mean, it was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
It was on the news. And I will tell you, since I joined the elder care industry, people turning 100.
It's more commonplace?
More commonplace.
Love it.
I remember the first time one of my residents turned 100, I was like, oh, wow. And then it just kept going on, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's 100 today. Yeah, she's 101 today. She's 102. This is happening.
Yeah.
We're seeing, the quality of life is getting better. We're seeing more drugs out on the market. Even though I'm not a big proponent of people being overly medicated, we are seeing more drugs that are making people live longer. Cancer, way back in the day, used to be a death sentence. Right. Not so much anymore.
So much. People are living with it or cured or are
in remission. And we're seeing people who maybe 20, 30 years ago had a cancer scare. 20 or 30 years ago
Right.
having that cancer scare, and they're still alive and living, and everything's great.
Yeah.
You just look at the AIDS epidemic of the 80s.
Right.
That was an immediate death sentence.
Right.
But now we are seeing, because of the drug cocktail, we're seeing people living with AIDS and HIV much longer. It's not a death sentence anymore. But like I said, Stanford University will back you up on what you think. In the National Institute of Aging, the life expectancy within the 20th century has been one of the greatest achievements because it has increased so far. We are now seeing families with multiple generations above ground, as the Addams family used to say. It used to be there may be 3 generations. You were lucky if you got to 4.
Yeah.
We're seeing 6 now. And the Guinness Book of World Records reports 7, where the oldest member in the family, and I got right from them today, the oldest member in the family was 109 years old and 97 days, and the youngest was born that previous January.
So they must be doing something right.
They're doing something right.
I mean, how much of that is nature? How much is nurture? How much is lifestyle? How much is DNA? I'm glad they're doing the research on that because it sounds like it's very promising in that way.
Yes. The Longevity Gene Project at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine at Yeshiva University has done a study of 500 seniors aged 95 to 112. Just let that number sink in for a minute.
The fact that they have a group that large in that category.
Just in an area that they can study, and that's not everybody. And what they're finding, they're studying to see if there's a longevity gene. And if they can isolate this gene, they hope to see if that can help in new drug therapies. So this is big. I mean, we're trying to figure out why people are living longer.
Yeah.
Some of it's nature, some of it's nurture.
Yeah.
Some of it's Pfizer, but there's a lot.
Unsolicited plug.
Unsolicited plug. I do not work for Pfizer, but these things are, these are all leading to us living longer, which leads to a couple different problems further down. It's like, there's the economy to worry about. We're going to be seeing a huge shift in the next 5 years in the population of this country alone. We're going to see it shift to more and more people being over the age of 65 than under the age of 65. Great for the job market. Not so much great for things like Social Security. There's going to be a big strain coming into it. The baby boom generation is aging. And, that was a good almost 20 years of a growth spurt in this country. Well, that growth spurt is going to come and hit now. So we've got to be preparing. And that's one of the things that I try and get people to do is prepare. You've got to prepare your income. You've got to prepare where you're going to live. Because if you're going to be 120 years old, living in a 3-story house with the bathroom on the 3rd floor, not so convenient. Let's plan this out a little bit.
Let's think ahead.
Let's think ahead of where we need to be.
Term. Well, I think you're proving exactly why people need you and people like you who are truly experts because it's your focus. It's where you put your attention.
It is.
So you bring so much to people that where they might not have thought of it before. And gosh, if this trend continues, your whole industry is going to really open up because if we're living longer and longer and longer, maybe there isn't a cap to that. I guess there probably is some kind of cap to that. Maybe we could be living to 120?
Michelle, you could be doing this show for the next 50 years. You never know.
By the way, you look wonderful for age 88.
Thank you. Pfizer.
I wanted to give a shout out because as we were thinking about this topic today, some of our lovely older role models who are still doing it.
They are.
The people who are out there, I was thinking about Betty White. Betty White is 93.
93, and in a career resurgence.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen this woman who, she was in the 50s, she had a TV show, went down, and in the 70s she had a show, went down, in the 80s she had a show, and here we are in the second half, the second decade of the new millennium, and she's hot.
And people love her.
Big. She's doing everything. And she doesn't let anything get in her way.
Yeah, and it's almost like she's found really her mission. She's an advocate for the animals, and so she's still going strong and keeping herself active. So let's just talk for a moment about your show, Only Seniors, that's here on Princeton Television. What is the theme of your show? I know it's reflective of everything you've said here today. And who has been your most memorable guest or guests?
Okay. Only Seniors, what I want to do is get the message out there. One, life doesn't stop after retirement. Two, there are resources. And that's what I try and pull in a lot, is the resources that are available to people.
Right.
You know, you don't have to just be stuck in a situation. You know, one of the people I had on was the Senior Resource Center here in Princeton. And I had them on. I was like, just talk about your programs. It was great. There's lots of programs. I've had people on about LGBT aging and the disparities. Affordable housing. There's going to be a big crisis in this country. Actually, there already is for the affordable housing deficit. We don't have enough affordable housing for people. I've had seniors and sexuality on. Because yes, seniors are still doing it. Trust me, I've walked in on it a couple times. But my message is, there's life out there. There's things that are happening. There's always an answer. And if I can get you on to talk about it, let's talk about it so that people know about that answer.
Wow. There's so much. I mean, endless angles and dimensions of that. So what's just one thing that people can do today, as you said, to think about, to take action on when it comes to what's important when they want to age healthily and successfully?
The one thing, stop thinking you're not going to age. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. But you have control over it.
Got it.
People think they don't have control over it. They do.
Yeah.
If you go forward with a positive mindset on aging, you know what? I'm going to do this. You look at former President George H.W. Bush. Goes skydiving on his birthday. The man is in his 90s and goes skydiving. That's his mission.
Right.
He has set that out, that every year on his birthday, he's going to skydive. 90-something.
So you and I are going to have a date on our 90th birthdays.
70 years from now.
Yes. To go skydiving. I've already tried it once. I don't know that I want to do it again. So that's why our topic today is positive and conscious aging, and that's the main message of what we're talking about. So how can people reach you?
They can reach me a number of different ways. I have a website. My consulting company for aging is called AFI Coaching and Consulting. It stands for Answers for Issues Coaching and Consulting. The website is www.aficac.com. I can be reached at Tom, at aficac.com. I can also be reached at 609-883-5206. That's my company phone number. I also have a website called Only Seniors, onlyseniors.com. I'm on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter. And watch my show, Only Seniors. Plug, shameless plug.
Not shameless. That's great. So I will certainly give as well an encouraging plug for you to reach out to Tom Callahan. He really can help you. If anything you've heard today speaks to you in terms of something that you need, please reach out to Tom Callahan. Please reach out to me as well. I would love to know. I don't hear from enough of you. What did you think about today's show? Are you going to approach aging and the years to come a little bit differently? You can reach out to me at my website or my email or my phone number. All of that is in the credits at the end of this show. So I hope you took a lot out of today. And Tom, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure to speak with you. I know everybody's going to watch Only Seniors.
Thank you.
Here on Princeton Television.
Thank you. And keep up your great work. The positive energy you bring with this show and to people, especially with the Center for Wellness.
Center for Relaxation and Healing.
Relaxation and Healing.
Relaxationhealing.com.
Shameless plug. Really does, and that's a great way for the seniors to connect as well. There are so many resources.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So once again, join us again next time on Positive Energy. Remember to breathe and pay it forward.